Florida.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people we'll have tonight. I had several people say that they weren't going to be able to make it. I don't even know if we'll get a quorum. This can be very short and sweet anyway. And I know Anita's got another commitment too. So I'll just get started. And I apologize. Work, I have really been getting slammed these last couple of weeks. I worked from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. today, slept for a half hour before this meeting, and literally just made up this agenda 15 minutes ago. So there's not much on there other than we talked about the donation to Boston. We can wait on that. There's nothing that needs to be done right away on that. I do need to get some things together for Gas Literature Awards. I'll send some stuff to Martin, and we'll get some entries in that from from the society. And but one new thing, and this is kind of neat. John Barwis contacted me about 3 weeks ago, and he offered to donate. He already sent them to me. They're bound copies of the Quaker City Philatelist and Philadelphia Stamp News, and he bought those many years ago. But they're really professionally bound. They're awesome books, and like one is like a set of 6 and one is like a set of 8, something like that. They're very heavy. I got a big heavy box right here. I did scan one, and we just need to, and I'll throw it out there with you if you have any ideas. He said he just did it as a tax deduction. I already sent him a letter, said thank you for your donation. But he doesn't really care how we dispose of them. He said that the value, he paid like $200 for one set and $250 for the other. They're probably worth more, he said, but however we dispose of them is fine. If we have a member that's interested, he said he's okay with that. If we do an auction, he said we could scan them and keep, which I did scan one book, which is kind of neat. Let me show you that real quick, just to see. Are you guys familiar with these? What I'm talking about?
What year?
No, never.
Pretty cool. So here's just one. I scanned the first of the Quaker City Philatelist, and it's from Volume 1, Number 1 from 1886, and it's the original pages, but they're bound. I guess the best word to use is professionally. Can you see the page?
No.
No, I'm sorry. Let me do a share over it. Try and share again. Maybe this will do it better. I apologize. How about now?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all the original pages, and it makes up like 6 to 8 books. I forget which one has more, but there's many years in there, and they're in awesome shape. They're like brand new shape, the pages and everything. And I scanned this one just quickly and threw it together as a PDF, so it could be. This is like one book out of all of it, but it's got all of the information from when they started this Quaker City Philatelist, and it's really kind of interesting. I saw a couple things as I was scanning things about how many clubs there were, and like competing clubs with competing interests, and the APS, and they liked some things and they didn't like some things, and it's kind of neat how they talk badly about like some things, like maybe they had a wild hair about the APS, but it's like really polite, but you can tell they're like seething about this thing, and it's just kind of fun to read through some of this stuff from, like I said, starting in 1886. And I assume at that time, 25 cents a year was fairly expensive. One page advertising, $5. I mean, that's a lot of money. But, it talks about all the prominent philatelists in Philadelphia at the time. So they're pretty cool. So he originally suggested if a member was interested in them and, would pay for them or whatever, he said you can keep the donation for the society. So I don't know. I don't know the best way to dispose of them, but
Advertised in the publication.
Yeah, we could
Let
definitely
people
do
know
that.
what we have.
Yeah. And we could probably do it for one page for $5. It's still 100 and some years later, right? 140 years later. It's the same price, kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But, I just didn't want to say, well, the first person that jumps at it, hey, let them have this, because it's kind of a really neat thing. I personally would always have loved to see like a library for us. I mean, I know there's so many great libraries in Philadelphia, but not like specifically postal history. But who would keep it? Who would keep up with it? How would you borrow books? I don't know.
I like to see it.
Yeah, they're very cool. I mean, I'd be happy to if you want to see the scanner, you want to see them.
Yeah,
I don't-
sometime I like to see the group of books.
Oh, sure. Let me see if this will show up real quick. If I take my background off, and I'm not sure how I go to none. Let's see, none. And let me grab one here. And I don't know how it's going to show up on the webcam. I'll pull one out. He sent them. They're all wrapped up in, I guess they're newspapers, local newspapers. An idea how. Oh, this is a different one. Sorry, it's not. I'm sorry. He sent some other books, I guess, in addition to it. I just happened to reach in and grab it. This is Philadelphia Merchant. It's a diary of Thomas Coate. Let me grab another one.
So Steve, was this Quaker City Philatelist magazine that's been bound, or
Yes.
how many years did it exist?
Uh,
How many copies?
I can't answer all those questions. Quite honestly, I didn't go into enough detail or looking at this stuff yet. But I think it was
It
quite
looks like volume 1, number 1 is in the 1880s. So.
1986.
Right.
Yeah, there was no postal history in those days. It was just stamps, right?
Right.
So this is how one of them is. You can kind of get an idea here how well it's bound. And
Standard library binding.
Yeah.
So it's,
Steve, have you ever heard of the Quaker City Philatelist?
I have not. Oh yeah, Steve. I'm sorry, Steve.
Washburn.
He knows more than me.
Hey, Steve?
This one, Steve Washburn. Have you heard of
Yeah,
it?
Steve Washburn.
I've never heard of it. No, I would suggest that we see if the APRL has the copies. If they don't, they certainly would want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
I think that they do. I think maybe John had checked that or something. I'm not sure, but he said he didn't want them to just go there and be lost in the stacks either. This is another one that I have. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it. It's a little tough. Philadelphia Stamp Club Bulletin. It's got that striding messenger on the top. I have, I'm going to see how big this is, how many issues are in there. I probably have 5 bagfuls like this. I got off of eBay years ago and haven't even really had the chance to look at it. But this is from 1910. I just grabbed one off the top. But that's something I also have. But it's very similar to what is bound in these books. So.
Yeah, I might be interested.
Okay. Yeah, I thought maybe you would. I don't know. I'm getting yelled at when my book shelves are all full. Sue is kind of getting a little antsy. So, I mean, I'd love to scan them though. That's the only thing that I asked John about, and he said he's fine with that. Whether we sell them, auction, whatever we do with them, if we have a scan, we can at least after they're sold, the books are sold or whatever, somebody donates, then we would still have it available for the other members to go through and look and see. So
If you're willing to do them, I'd like to have scans of the whole thing.
Right.
them on the
Well, that's
website?
my intention. When I get
Yeah.
back from the cruise, that is my intention. I have a book scanner, and it's pretty cool. It goes pretty quickly. So it took me, but that's the problem. It just adds up because it took me about 25 minutes to do one book. And there's like 15 of them. It doesn't sound like a lot. When you start adding up all those 20 minutes, it's like now you're hours into it, of course. But, I'll make up something that everybody can see. But they're beautiful, and they're like in brand new condition. I mean, and it's by year. This is 18. I just grabbed one. It's 1888 to 1889. So maybe each one has like at least a couple of years in it, and they're fairly thick.
So what is the latest year that PaPHS has?
I have to do more research because I haven't even. I only took like one out of the box. And there's like a bunch of them in there, so I haven't even unloaded them all. I was going to do that after I get back from the cruise because
There's no rush.
yeah. Well, yeah, they're only getting better with age, right?
It's like wine.
Yeah, of course, but definitely very nice. So it's just something to think about. We'll see. And that's really all I kind of had, to be honest with you. Summer seminar is canceled. I don't know about the volunteer week, if they're going to do that type of stuff up at the APS, or what kind of shows are going to be held. There's still so much up in the air. So
COVID's picking up again. That could have a big effect on things.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of strange. You have some, like ending mask mandates, but then people are saying numbers are going back up, and people are afraid to go to shows. And I think they got very little participation in summer seminar, and that's why they went virtual on that. So
They have that last year?
Virtual.
Not live.
It was canceled, dude.
Yeah.
And how about the last 2 years? Was it canceled?
Oh, they were virtual, weren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, there was no
Yeah.
No in-house.
no in-person
Right.
summer seminar.
But I'm really glad that there at least is a virtual option. I mean, I think they do pretty good with theirs. I have to say, I looked at them all this year. I wasn't really interested in any of them, to be quite honest, personally. But I'd love to see always like a coastal history, part of it, whatever that may be. But it doesn't seem, they still.
I think now that they've gone virtual, that's going to knock the live meetings, because people all over the country can participate, which you couldn't do before.
Yeah.
Right. Well, see, I talked to the women exhibitors, and it was kind of interesting because Lisa Foster, I think is her name, head of the women exhibitors, and she was very adamant about promoting the live meetings that they're having. And I was trying to explain to her, you can really increase your membership and increase, you can talk to 10 people, or you can talk to 100 people, or maybe 1,000 people. Who knows? All over the world, there's people interested in these topics. It's a great way to spread the hobby and get interest in the hobby, create some interest. We had one last night for Florida. I thought it was awesome. We had basically like a 2-day notice, and we had 20 some people show up, and had even more than that were interested and were waiting to get the link for the show. So,
well, there's something. I mean, we're social animals, and that means that's the fun of a stamp show, to see people and to see stamps. We all like to see the stamps we're going to buy. It's a big difference.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing too I found with postal history. It's kind of interesting. All these dealers that don't scan like the insides, and like these covers you get, and they have like a really nice bow. They look, oh, this looks great. I really want this. And you open it up, and it's like, oh my God, this thing's about to fall apart. It's a mess. It's nice to see them at show, but if it's not an option, I don't know what we can do.
Yeah.
But I would love to do. I was looking at it was one of the associations, I think BNAP, they had a transatlantic study group. And I don't know how much interest is out there for something like that, but I think we have some people that are pretty good at that kind of stuff. It might be kind of neat to do a series on things like that. transatlantic mail. And John mentioned also that he and Dick Winter have another book that is coming out here shortly. And I guess it's beyond 1875, and it's all the non-contract carriers. He said, you know, I forget, I think he said 54 album, 54. So that'll be interesting too. That's what I was thinking. He would be a great guy to do a study group for something like that. And, you know, how people go on book tours, you know, they go on the shows on TV. Well, do some Zoom to help spur interest in your books.
Yeah, you're right. After about 1876, it's almost impossible to figure out exactly which ship carried the letter, because there's so many of them. And
right. Well, I just love, you know, since I got started on this, Rick has been helping me a bit. But one of the really cool things is you almost always have a date. You know, people have that date line, and you almost always have that. And then you have all these markings, these clues, right? It's not like you're guessing at stuff. You actually have clues that you can figure these things out. Of course, for me at least, I think I start to know a little bit, and then I find a cover and it's like, man, I don't know anywhere near as much as I thought. It's just another hole, another rabbit hole. So. And it's kind of neat. A lot of that, Dick Winter's book is online. That 1840 to 75, I think the other one, North Atlantic Mail. It's online. Plus, I have it with addendums to errata. You know, like you hover over it as a PDF. You hover over it, and it'll say, "Oh, we made a mistake on this one. It was really this." So that's kind of neat. Very freely available source. Neat. Anyway, so that's about all I have. I don't know if you guys have anything else to talk about for this month. I might be a little tougher over the summer to get people to meetings. Okay. Okay. Well, if you come up with any ideas about the books or anything, please let me know. Vern, like I said, maybe we can work something out. You can come here and look at them or whatever. I can send them. They're heavy.
Maybe sometime I'll stop by.
Yeah, or vice versa. I can come up that way.
Yeah.
You know, no big deal. We're close enough to do that. Yeah, you need to see. So. Okay, well, and I can also show you the other ones that I have. And I don't know, do you know anybody in particular that might be interested in this Thomas Cope book, the Philadelphia Merchant book? The Diary of Thomas Cope? He sent that along too. That's a big heavy book.
Who was Thomas Cook?
No, Cope, C-O-P-E. He was, there's a lot of mail. He had a lot of, I know I have some covers that are addressed to and from his company, kind of like a Trotter type thing, you know, the very prolific amount of mail. I don't know. Must not be too good if you haven't seen them, Steve. I don't know. but I've seen a couple of them. Okay, well, if we don't have anything else, please, thanks for staying in touch. And like I said, I'll be out of pocket here till the middle of May.
Well, have fun on your cruise. That sounds.
Yes.
Thanks very much. I'm looking forward to it. It's been about 3 weeks.
And I'll be interested to know what the mask requirements are. I know.
I think there's none.
Well, I don't know. We had on Viking, we had friends who took one of the river cruises. We've taken the Amsterdam to Basel cruise pre-COVID, awesome. And they took that, and you know, you had to take a nose swab every day and turn it in. And
well, we did have to do extra paperwork. Our first stop is Bermuda. Bermuda is charging $40 per person on the cruise ship, whether you get off or not. You have to fill out paperwork and pay them $40 per person.
Right.
And then there's some other paperwork my wife has done, and I don't remember exactly because she took care of it all. That's her in the back there. But there's other countries we have some paperwork for also.
Are you probably, we took a cruise, probably you're going to stop in the Azores as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Which is neat. I like that, you know.
Yeah, if so. And there'll be more paperwork there standing in line.
Yeah. Well, land of the happy cows, right?
They have like one metal detector, so everyone on the ship has to, you know, go through the same metal detector.
Yeah. Well, we've been there before, and we really enjoyed it. We rode around on a tour there and rode all over the place and saw all the waterfalls and different things. So it was pretty neat. I enjoyed it there. I'm sure you've been there times with the Portugal stuff. Did you ever do any Philadelphia to Switzerland type stuff? I know you mentioned Basel there. Can you do any Switzerland?
Well, there are, you know, I had a fair number of World War II mail, which was, you know, airmail, which went through Switzerland because it couldn't go directly. And the Swiss, there are a lot of people who collect that mail because there's political and social aspects of it, and
I do have some Switzerland stuff too. I have a bunch of Switzerland albums that
because during World War II, I mean, Lisbon was the only place that you could get an airmail to the U.S. from. So there's a
Casablanca.
Yeah, I'll have to look
Casablanca.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate it, and we'll stay in touch. And see you all next month.
Okay.
Have a great.
Thank you.
Yeah, next month.
Thanks, Stephen.
Next month. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.